I'm Vernard Martin with the Steampunk Chronicle, and I'm here to interview one of the vendors and the makers at AnacroCon 2013. And I'm going to have him say his name so it's always said properly.
James Christopher Hill.
So Mr. Hill here has got a very interesting thing we'd like to share with you. He designs devices that are actually mechanically correct. And we're going to take a couple of quick pans here of some of these imagery. I'm going to pick up a couple of them. You know, we call them gadgets or widgets or sometimes, you know, devices. But unlike most of them, which are just portraits, his are actually mechanically correct. Now, Mr. Hall, what package are you using to do most of your work right now?
Well, I use many different packages, mainly 3D Studio Max, Maya, AutoCAD, and SolidWorks is my latest foray.
All right.
SolidWorks is a parametric modeling engine that is extremely accurate. If anything's done wrong, guess what? It will not work.
That's fantastic. So what got you started in actually doing this mechanically correct kind of work?
Well, for years and years I've been a drafter and designer and architectural designer, you name it, and production designer. And so that kind of led into, over the years I've looked at various blueprints and saw some beauty in them, especially some of the architectural renderings and everything else. One of my first jobs, they told me, I used to be a board drafter. I'm one of the last hand-drawn board drafters existing nowadays.
Wow.
And so the owner looked at me one day and said, if I cannot hang one of your paintings and frame it on the wall, not paintings but the blueprints, I don't need it. So everything had to be precise, hand-drawn beautifully. And I got to work with some of the greatest, living legends as far as drafters go. And they would do these beautiful, pen and ink Corinthian columns of ultra detail with the sculptures inside. And so that was just, you learn from those people. And then over time, I started, getting into blueprinting and design and everything else as I did, and I became a conceptual designer as well for different sets and buildings and interiors and all that kind of stuff. And so one day when I noticed, I knew steampunk was around. I didn't have a name for it. Back in the 90s, I used to draw elegant and Art Nouveau and Victorian design systems and everything, but I didn't know anything about steampunk. I knew about Jules Verne and H.G. Wells and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I grew up with that Wild Wild West, the TV series. So it was nothing new to me. But when I saw it solidified around 2006, 2007, around Dragon Con, I started asking people, what is this? All of you are wearing objects and pieces that I recognize. I was fascinated by it. And they said, oh, it's called steampunk. And I was like, well, I've seen it before, but now I got a name for it.
And now you have that name.
Right. So I was fascinated by building things, but I don't have the room for it, and I didn't want to start collecting a bunch of stuff all around the house. So the next phase, it's like, you know what? I'll design it in the virtual world. I'll make it, and somebody will be inspired. And I'm inspired by Da Vinci in the sense that Da Vinci gave us ideas, and he's still giving us ideas to this day.
Well, you have one piece here which strikes me as pure Da Vinci.
Yes, it's inspired by Da Vinci.
What I would call is pretty much a steampunk ornithopter.
Yes, it is.
It is amazing, and every single component of this mechanically works.
Yes.
So it would actually flap its wings, and it would move if energy were applied to it.
Exactly.
Wow, this is amazing.
It's actually based on a reciprocating system. The piston drives the gears, and the gears turn, but the reciprocation system drives the other wing in unison.
Ah, so that's absolutely amazing. That's where art and science kind of, meet together. This is fantastic stuff.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that one day through certain blueprints and certain designs, like this one here is my latest. It's a 3D rendering of a Tesla power grid. Tesla had the theory of actually generating free power for everybody using the magnetic field of the Earth and the Earth strata. And so Westinghouse would have nothing to do with that.
And they completely shut it down.
And they shut it down. My idea is to start inspiring people to start looking at free power again, to start generating their own power. Now we're having breakthroughs with liquid metal batteries. We're having supercapacitors just came out. So this is coming. But I'm hoping that someday somebody will look at some of my designs that I keep going and keep imagining, that they say, this inspires me to create, just like Star Trek inspired other designers.
And just like people inspired you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, this is wonderful stuff. Do you have any future plans on actually trying to build anything, like maybe a Kickstarter or something like that?
Not really, in the sense of actually building, except for maybe a Tesla system or whatever. As far as that goes, I would like to work with a team of developers who have the knowledge and the machining knowledge to do that. I actually talked to a machinist one time who's an expert machinist, and he basically said, I was trying to coerce him into, because he was like doing props and movies and stuff like that. I said, you know what, we could design I'll design the, the cool Zeppelins and, the cool ray guns or whatever, and you can mill and manufacture because you have all the equipment and the expertise. See, that's the thing. It's like, you really have to have good fabricators, good machinists, and everything else that really know what they're doing to make everything, all the components work beautifully together in unison. You can slap things together, and it probably will break down within a few times of use, but you really want that precision clockwork. So just like a Denon stereo system or anything else, when it turns, it works beautifully.
So you need precision designs, but you also need precision instantiation, the implementation.
Exactly.
Well, that's wonderful stuff. Well, thank you very much for being at AnacroCon
Sure.
2013. We love your work.
Thank you.
And we hope you get a chance to come to the next one.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, for Steampunk Chronicle, this is Vernard Martin.